Have you ever thought about just how amazing the turn of a new season is? Because we are officially in spring, and spring is beautiful, spring is nice. It's probably my second favorite season, maybe my third. I think second in terms of weather, third in terms of everything else. But regardless, yes, it is officially spring. Spring has sprung. We are now here. Here we are. The days are longer, or at least the sunlight's out longer here in the northern hemisphere. I am excited. It makes it so much easier to record videos, not gonna lie. Anyways, hello everybody, this is That Manga Dude, and welcome to another FVI. This is the first volume impressions. I do this every month, or at least almost every month, and I try to talk about some of the big new hits, new first volumes that are coming out on each month. So this is going to be all about the March 2025 releases. There were so many that honestly I had to choose only 5 because I don't think my throat nor my brain could be able to comprehend or be able to do a full review of every single volume 1 that came out, especially because I've been getting a lot from Yen Press and I just don't have all the time to fully review those. So I picked out 2 from there and then I chose 3 that I personally chose to review, and yeah, a lot of really great stuff. I'm really excited to get into it, so let's get started right now. Alrighty, so the first series that I'm going to be talking about, the first volume, originally debuted in Shueisha's Bisatsu Margaret magazine, a Shojo magazine, in June 11th of 2021, and that is going to be Kazune Kawahara series, A Star Brighter Than the Sun. Alright, let's talk about who worked on this really quick. We have ourselves translation from Tetsuichiro Miyake, English adaptation from Shannon K. Garrity, touch-up art and lettering from Elena Diaz, cover and interior design by Alice Lewis, and editor is Annette Roman. Oh my goodness, I have gas in my body, I guess. So let's talk about this cover and spine. I do like that it is an off-white. It is not a white cover. I love the detail here of like the space stars on one of our main characters' jacket. It looks really nice. I like how it transits over into the spine as well. And then the back cover is absolutely gorgeous. So this is actually a really nice release in terms of its cover and spine. It looks great. Alright, now coming into our characters, we have 2 characters. So first character is going to be our true lead. She is the female lead of the series. Her name is Sae Iwata. Like I said, she is the female lead of the series. She is a tall, she's 5'6", and large girl who struggles with her appearance, and she thinks she's not really feminine, or is kind of seen as like the strong person. Oh, you know, you're not really seen as like the pretty girl. You're seen as more of like the girl who can lift things heavy and you're really good at sports and stuff like that. So she's really struggling with her in terms of her feminine identity, I guess is how you put it, or like how she feels about herself specifically. And I think that's like just it feels so real and so raw. Like it's just you sympathize with her because like obviously in high school everything just feels so much more heightened. A lot more people put a lot of emphasis on appearance, especially in high school. So I think her character feels very real and visceral, and I really just like how her character is written, which is very common for Kawahara's series. She's really, really great at creating very strong female characters. Coming into our main boy, he is the guy on the front. It is Koki Kamishiro. He is the male lead of the series, and he's the tall, popular boy, sociable, sporty, exactly what you'd expect from the big popular guy. And yeah, he's kind of seen as like the ladies' man, even though he definitely already has a crush on someone specific. But yeah, I like his character. I think he's great. You know, he shows his vulnerabilities at points, sometimes to a fault, especially within the first volume, and I do like him. I like him a lot. I think he's going to be great to watch as their relationship develops, and you'll see what I mean by that. So, going into the story, we have Sae and Koki have known each other since elementary school, but now they're in high school, and they've noticed their feelings for various people. So Sae now understands that she has feelings for Koki, but Koki has feelings for someone as well. I wonder, who could it be? So it's a little bit on the nose. I mean, it's kind of expected. You kind of know who he probably likes. It's very obvious. But I do like the storytelling. Storytelling is still pretty solid. I just like the idea of like Sae kind of trying to figure out her identity, and being like trying to be considered more of what she wants to be considered, like more seen as like a girl, instead of always the strong person, as like all this kind of stuff. So I do like her character. I like the writing as well. I think the writing is always really solid, and there's a lot of great comedic moments and a lot of special moments, especially between the girl characters as well, which I always respect from Kazune Kawahara. And coming into the art, you know, it's really great to see Kazune Kawahara drawing again. She had been, at least in English releases, had been having series where she was just the writer, like My Love Story, as well as The Secret of Friendship. So really great to see a series where she's doing both the story and the art. And yeah, the art is still fantastic. Really great character designs, some fantastic paneling. I love the use of screen tones, like these little cute little moments. Just, I don't know, it helps to emphasize like those like really special moments, and I really enjoy this first volume. It's great. I think if you enjoy a nice high school rom-com, I think you're going to enjoy this with a lot of great themes and a lot of fantastic characters. This is a very, very good series. Alright, coming into our second volume. Our second volume originally released the series originally released in July of 2023 in Shueisha's Weekly Young Jump, which is a seinen magazine, and that is going to be Satoru Noda's Dogsred. Yes sirree, boss. Alrighty, let's talk about who worked on this really quick. To introduce our team, we have ourselves translation from number 51, John Weary. Touch-up art and lettering from number 26, Steve Dutro. Design from number 72, Julian J.R. Robinson. And from our editor, number 16, Mike Montesa. And yes, I did that because they actually do have numbers in the back as well, which I think is really funny, and I really enjoy that. Anyways, let's talk about our cover and spine. Yeah, pretty solid cover. Pretty sure, pretty good back cover as well. Spine is nothing to write home about. It's basically just a white spine with the text. But I like the front cover. It shows our main character dressed up in his hockey uniform. Satoru Noda, really great artist. Love his work. And I love the back as well. It just looks really nice. I kind of love like the snow motif that's going on the bottom here, mixed with the ice skating rink design in the background. So yeah, pretty solid across the board. Alright, coming into our characters, which I will only be talking about one, and that is going to be Rou Shirakawa. He is the main character. He is an ice skating prodigy, very quirky, very strange, but a fantastic ice skater, and very passionate about ice skating as well, even though it's kind of a mixed bag, as you will see when I talk about the story. But yeah, he has a strong intensity for anything that has to do with ice skating, even hockey at some point. But yeah, he's very entertaining, he's very funny. Exactly what you'd expect from a Satoru Noda character. Going into the story, like I mentioned, Rou Shirakawa is an ice skating prodigy and is on his way to the Olympics because he just won a major competition until he goes on basically a random rampage, starts destroying stuff, and then ends up leaving with his sister to live in Hokkaido. So he's kind of going into, in a way, going into hiding, kind of like trying to reset his life for various reasons. But after he sees a bunch of these kids playing on a pond, a frozen pond, playing hockey, he ends up getting kind of sucked into the world on accident in a way, and then he gets his first taste of hockey action. So yeah, it's a absolutely ridiculous story. It's exactly what you'd expect from Satoru Noda, but I really like how easy it is for people who have never played or know anything about hockey to understand. I am a pretty big hockey fan. I am a big fan of the St. Louis Blues. Yes, sirree, go Blues. So very easy for me to understand what was going on. I know quite a bit about hockey, and yeah, I think it does it's a very good representation of hockey within this series, and yeah, I enjoy the writing. If you're a big fan of Golden Kamui, it is the same manga, so you're going to expect that ridiculousness, the comedy at weird points, and just some overall great action and great storytelling as well. So I really enjoyed the story for the first volume. And then going into the art, as with any Satoru Noda, it's going to have fantastic action across the board, some really great movement. I think really great at exemplifying just how intense hockey skating can be, and just really enjoyed it. But it also has its really ridiculous moments, great facial expressions across the board from Satoru Noda. So if you are looking for a really goofy, wacky sports series that's going to have a lot of heart, from what I can tell, I think Dogsred is a great example of that. Okay, coming into volume number 3. This originally released in Fuwabasha's Manga Action, which I believe is supposed to be a seinen magazine, back in June of 2021, and that is going to be Hikaru in the Light. Yes, sirree, boss, from Mai Matsuda. Let's talk about the work of the people who worked on this series. We have editor Emily Clement, production editor Elizabeth Palumbo, color from Culture Weaver JK, designer is Natalie Padberg Bartu, creative director is Phil Falco, and the publisher is David Saylor. So yeah, let's talk about this cover and spine. It's a pretty simple cover here. It's a white background with the character on the front in a fun pose. Really enjoy like the font that they used, or like the design that they used for the title. Looks great. Obviously the scholastic thing on the bottom is kind of funny, but yeah, love the spine. It looks great. It's an orange and red color. It looks awesome. Has the main character on the side there, and the background is just like, the back here is just a yellow color with the main character. So yeah, pretty solid across the board. Really loving the spine though. It really pops on a bookshelf. So yeah, let's talk about the characters. So we have one character I'm going to be talking about, and that is Hikaru Ogino. She is the main lead of the series. She's a great singer with aspirations of being a big star, but she feels resigned toward the beginning of the series because she feels that she may disappoint her family, and just kind of resigns herself to taking over the family business, which is a bathhouse that her grandpa owns. But I love her character because she's like always just super passionate about what she wants to do, what she wants to be, and although she struggles a lot with her self-confidence, I really just appreciate her character pushing through it. Really grows throughout the first volume, and she's a really easy character to root for. So it's a lot of fun to read this first volume. Going into the story, kind of already mentioned it, but Hikaru wants to become a pop idol like her friend Ran, but she feels that it is impossible at this point in time because, like I mentioned, her family owns a bathhouse, and she feels like she needs to just take it over for convenience, basically. When a new program called Girls in the Light is created to build the best idols in the country, Hikaru decides to go for it and compete to be a part of the program. So basically it's like a competition group where they bring like the best dancers and singers from across the country in order to build the best idol group in a way. So yeah, it's a pretty interesting story, and I think it tackles the idea of like how these competition groups and programs and shows work, basically, where like it's as easy or like a lot of people will join, but only so many people are gonna make it, and it's kind of disappointing for the people who don't. Yeah, it's really I like the themes that are building out. Like, you know, you really should just go for it. You know, follow your dreams, do what you can when you can, because you never know when it's never going to be able to be possible again. So really appreciate it. I like the writing a lot. It's a very easy read from start to finish, and really like the first volume. I thought it was great. And coming into the art is absolutely gorgeous, especially because it is in full color. It's just some really great lighting, really great like just color theory being used. Just a lot of great stuff in general. I don't know, I like it a lot. Love the paneling, love the line art. It's like the simple line art with unconnected lines here and there, which kind of like make it like an easier look. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, it's a really nice read just across the board. I think the art looks very, very good. So overall, it was a great volume. It was kind of what I was expecting, but even more than that as well. It was just a really solid read from start to finish, and yeah, I cannot wait for the next volume. Okay, coming into volume number 4. This is, I'm going to mention it now, this is one of the review copies that I received from Yen Press. Not that it necessarily affected my opinion on the volume. So, this originally released in Hobunsha's Manga Time Kirara Forward, which is a seinen magazine as well. This series released in November of 2020, and that is from Ren Sakuragi, and that is The Enemy Feels the Heat, Volume 1. Alright, let's talk about our people who worked on this. We have translation from Mei Amaki and lettering from Rebecca Seze, I believe is how you pronounce it. And looking at this cover and spine, absolutely gorgeous. I love the colors here. It looks beautiful. I love the way that the colors reflect across the characters, and I love just like the posing. I don't know, it's just a lot of really great stuff, and I like that it like kind of bends from the front spine to the back spine. It's one of my favorite things, and it also goes through the spine, which looks great. Yeah, overall, this is a really, really pretty cover and spine. Alright, going into the characters, there are 2 characters to talk about, and there are 2 characters on the front here. So first is Nagisa Otsuki. She is the main lead of the series. Kind of a quiet person, tries to keep to herself, super studious, very intelligent, but really struggles to communicate with people. Just in general, I think she has like kind of like a rougher exterior in a way. She doesn't really like to I guess, reach out in a way. But really like her character. I think her character is very complex. She obviously has her flaws. If you read this volume, she has difficulties with the other main lead of the series because of a variety of reasons, and you can kind of see her struggling with those feelings throughout the first volume. So I can't wait to see how her character changes and grows throughout this series in general. And then going into the other character, we have ourselves with Shiro Komiyama. She is the main secondary character, or the other female lead, and she is sweet, sociable, but is really just struggling with her health in general. She has like a lot of health problems that really kind of have her not in class, mostly in the nurse's room, which kind of plays into what happens throughout this series. So yeah, I like her character as well. She's just kind of like the classic bubbly character. But yeah, I think it's a nice character dynamic, especially because they're very different, and it's a very common trope just in general to have like the really bubbly character with the more quiet, reserved character. So yeah, and I think it's done pretty well here. Going into the story, like I said, Nagisa is looking for a fresh start in high school after she missed her entrance exams to the school of her choice because she saw a girl who was passed out on the ground and looked to help her out. Unfortunately, the same girl she helped out now goes to the same high school and sits right next to her, so how is she going to deal with this whole situation, and what are her feelings towards this person going to develop as? So yeah, it's an interesting premise. I really like the pacing of the story. It's very quick. I think a lot of things already have happened within the first volume that you're just kind of like, whoa, okay, kind of wish that the gas was a little bit off pedal, or your foot was off the pedal just a little bit, but it's kind of interesting how their characters changed throughout the first volume, how they're kind of becoming closer. I believe this is going to be a Yuri series. I mean, obviously the cover kind of gives it away, but definitely feeling the Yuri vibes as I'm reading this. I'm very curious as to how this relationship is probably going to develop as we make it through the rest of the series. And coming through the art, yeah, it's really pretty. I think there's some really great art across the board. Pretty decent paneling as well. Just some nice stuff across the board. I like the character designs, especially the main character. I think she looks really cool. And I like that there's a color page in the front. So overall, yeah, it's a pretty decent, what appears to be like kind of like a romantic drama series in high school romance, Yuri series. So yeah, very interested to see where this series is going to continue to go and if their relationship is going to go anywhere. So yeah, crossing my fingers and hoping it's gonna be good. Alright, coming into our last volume, this series originally released in Shogakukan's Big Comic Superior, the seinen magazine, all the way back in October of 2022, and that is going to be the series from Muneyuki Kaneshiro and Akira Hiramoto, Super Ball Girls. Alrighty, let's talk about people who worked on this really quick. We have translation from Ko Ransom and lettering from DK. Okay, let's talk about this spine and cover. Yeah, spine's pretty solid. I like the black with the yellow. I think the font looks really great for the title. Yeah, the front cover, it's got a naked girl on the front. Yep. And then the back has got all the girls that you eventually meet. Yep, that's about as much as I can say about it. Let's talk about the characters. I'm only going to talk about one of the characters because technically there's like 5 characters to kind of care about, but, well, we'll get into it. So, main character, his name is Eita Ichiyoshi, and he's not even on the cover. He's not even on anywhere on the cover, so it's this guy right here. So this guy is the main lead of the series. His name is Eita Ichiyoshi. He is a guy who works his 9 to 5, mostly coasting through life, but dreaming of possibly more, sometimes to a ridiculous extent. He wishes that he could be super well off the wall and crazy, but has a modicum of decency, because obviously he knows that he can't just be like absolutely ridiculous all the time. But yeah, he's not necessarily the most interesting character in the world. I think he kind of leans into the male power fantasy / harem kind of thing, where like very whatever blah character, but somehow manages to attract all these women kind of characters. So not my favorite thing in the world, but it is what it is. As for all these girls on the back, they're kind of all pretty one note. She's like kind of like supposed to be the stupid character. She's like the smart one. She's kind of like the gamer, and then she's kind of like the one that's like really clingy. So it's just like not my kind of thing, to be completely honest. I'm not really into these kind of series really anymore. Really, in general, I never really did, but it is what it is. Coming into the story, Eita works for a chocolate factory and he doesn't have a lot going on in his life. After his coworker has a breakdown at work, he begins to wonder if he will grow up to be like him. On his way home, he finds a random ball in the middle of the road and takes it home. Little did he know that the ball would hatch and become a naked girl, and that naked girl begins to kiss him and sprouts out other balls out of her back, and they turn into the 3 other girls on the back. What is he going to do now that these 4 women don't know how to speak and completely rely on him? Remember I was talking about the male power fantasy thing, and I'm not usually the biggest fan of this kind of stuff, and that's because it just, this one really leans close, it feels like it leans close into kind of like parody and satire, but I feel like it's like not far enough past the line for me to consider this to be full satire. I feel like there's still kind of like a self-insert for the reader, and I'm not like the biggest fan of it, to be completely honest. I don't know. It's completely off the wall. It's bonkers. It's strange. It's weird. And if you're a fan of it, that's totally cool, and that's totally up to you. But for me, personally, I'm just like, I really don't care. And then when it comes to the art, it's pretty good across the board. There's some pretty strong rendering. I believe the artist is the artist from Prison School, and the writer is the writer of Blue Lock. So yes, if you're wondering why this series is absolutely redonkulous, and that is exactly why. It's just not my cup of tea. I think it's just a little too much for me. I think it's just not really my thing. I don't really read this kind of stuff. So overall, I think someone would probably like this. If you liked Prison School, you'll probably enjoy it. If you like Blue Lock, you'll probably enjoy it. But yeah, just not really my thing. Alright, coming into the final ranking. So, my ranking of these 5 series, I'm going to put Super Ball Girls at number 5 for obvious reasons. I think if you couldn't figure it out, wasn't a big fan of it. Coming after that, this is where it gets a little bit difficult for me. For me, I'm gonna say I feel like these 2 are very similar, at least how I'm ranking them. I think I like A Star Brighter Than the Sun just a little bit more. I prefer more of a rom-com for my romance series, or more of a comedy series for my romance. And then Dogsred, and then Hikaru in the Light for number 1. I really, really enjoyed this. I thought this was really great. And then having it in color, as well as having it for a fairly cheap price, for 12 bucks. You get it for the same price that you get a Viz Media volume that usually has no color pages, and this is full color with great print quality. Fantastic release. I mean, Scholastic, killing it. Keep doing what you're doing. So yeah, that's going to be my ranking for this video. Have you read any of these series? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to know if you guys are checking out any of these kinds of series, or if you have any interest in them at all. Also, yes, are you interested in reading any of these now? Let me know in the comments below as well. And you know what to do. You can like, you can comment, you can subscribe. Those are all amazing things, and I love it when you do that. I read every comment, even the really obnoxious ones on my shorts. But I read everything, and I try to comment on all the ones that are actually like trying to like talk to me in a way, or like trying to reach out in some kind of way, so I try to respond to those as much as possible. I usually respond to the ones on my actual videos and not on my shorts, so yeah, if you're commenting on my videos, most likely I will be responding. So yeah, thank you so much for all those comments. They all mean a lot, and we're inching ever closer to 5,000 subscribers. It's been amazing. Thank you for all your support, and yep, that's gonna be it for this video. I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.